I'm here.
It's Tuesday. It's time for another comic conversation, everybody. One of my favorite days. Getting ready for Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. So let's call it New Comic Book Day Eve, right? So we're at episode 8. We're going to have a special guest come on with us, and that's going to be Joe PRUETT, who works with AfterShock. I believe he's one of the co-founders of it, in fact. So looking forward to that. He's going to stop by. He may not be able to spend a whole lot of time with us, but we're going to, make him feel really welcome here when he does come. And we got some good questions for him as well. So, and we got some other great things to get into after that. We're going to talk about, Riri, some movie news, some cool things. And there is going to be, at some random point in time, some questions that are going to pop up. Some IQ, some comic book IQ. So you never know when that's going to come. So stay tuned for that. If you are in the chat, feel free to say hi. Feel free to send some questions for Mr. PRUETT, and also feel free to chime in with anything you want to say to us. Don't worry, we all have thick skin, so say what you want. But before we get into all that, let's start with some intros. Let's go with Mr. Chris. You're on my left there. So how are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you. So Buckshot 33, aka BostonChris. Just do hauls and stuff like that. I get a bunch of stuff from Comic-Con that I'm still uploading. Trying to just kind of catch back up after having that whole crazy weekend going on. But everything's been kind of same as always. Just new weekend, just kind of get everything together and just back to the grind of what we do every single day. So just kind of chilling out.
Cool. All right, Mr. ComixNStuff, how's it going?
What's up, guys? I'm definitely
gotta do the requisite applause.
Oh, yeah. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's looking to be a really pretty exciting show. I'm looking forward to what we have scheduled. So I'm looking forward to it. That would be me. That'll be
it. It's always a slow. When I hit my mute, it always takes me a second to unmute. So that's the issue there. All right, Edwin, how you doing? Wait. Okay. Now go.
Oh man, I'm great. It's great to be on board as always. And if anybody's interested, check out my YouTube channel, StrictlyComix. I am in the process of doing a giveaway in celebration of 500 subs. Hey, I never thought I'd reach it, but thanks so much.
Nice.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Hey, I owe a lot to you guys, so thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. All right, Justin, Mr. Exile himself. How are you, man?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just glad to be here. Really excited to talk to Joe PRUETT when he's able to come on. I don't know, did we mention that? But and really psyched up about this potential these questions that could come out of nowhere and prove whether or not we know anything in the world about comics, which we don't. We're just making this up, right, everybody? We're just all making this up. So, but yeah, Justin. Hey everybody, ExileState Comics is my YouTube channel, and check us out over on comicbook.com. That's my website. Jesse's a writer there too.
Very cool. All right, so I'm Jesse here. That you're watching this channel, JLS Comics. I don't know. I didn't do a whole lot this week. Just got some errands done. Finally picked up my books. I don't know if you saw my last haul, but 2 weeks worth of books there. So that was fun to cruise through that. So, I don't know. You guys had a chance to read Black Eyed Kids yet? Let's start talking about it while we're waiting for him. I know this is the first issue. We were just actually talking about it, right before. One of the things that's really cool with AfterShock that we were just saying is that the issue number ones are $1.99. That really, it's not much of a cost to get into it, try it out, and kind of take it from there. So, have you guys had a chance to pick up, I guess, this title or any of the other AfterShock titles?
Go ahead.
I haven't seen Black Eyed Kids in my local shop. And I actually wanted to ask that, is it kind of a lower print run, that book, or is it just something that maybe I'm just not looking hot enough for?
Oh, sorry. From when I spoke to their editor, Mike Martz, what they like to do is they're kind of keeping it at 6 to 7 titles out at any one time, and they're doing, as far as I know, they're all the same print run, but it's just what your shop's going to order and things like that.
Okay. I had a feeling, just because, I mean, it's a newer imprint or label, I guess you call it, and just kind of one of those things where I've heard a lot about it and I want to check it out. I just, for my shop, they just don't happen to get a lot of them, so or any at all, because I've never actually seen that title in my shop. So I'm gonna have to talk to the people there and be like, hey man, get these AfterShock titles, and what are you waiting on?
Yeah, man, they're really good. It's got a few coming out. It started in 2015, so it's been out for like a year. And I was looking at some of the numbers. It's consistently, they have 3 or 4 or 5 titles in the top 300. They're beating the Zenoscopes and Titan, Udon, Dynamite in some of these books and the releases. So people are definitely interested in those, and it's for a company that Zenoscope started in 2005, so it's over a decade old now.
Right.
They're coming out of the gate, from a year old barely, and they're already, banging out,
yeah,
really good market share. So it's impressive.
Yeah, that's a pretty big competition.
Yeah, to start off with AfterShock, if you were like, what AfterShock book should I get to read? Get Super Zero, all right? You got a character who, say she's our Peter Parker type character, but instead of like, oh my gosh, this happened to me, she's trying to make it happen to her. She wants to be a superhero. So it's like she runs the gambit of all the different ways you could potentially get superpowers, you know what I'm saying? So it's a great book. It's written and drawn. It's Jimmy Palmiotti and
Amanda Connor?
Yeah, and Amanda Connor. So it's the same. It's the Harley Quinn team on Super Zero, and that book is phenomenal. It looks great. It just flows really well. Another one, like I said, they got Rough Riders, which like your history lesson. The Revisionist, which is like a time traveling assassin. So some really, really fun stuff coming out of AfterShock.
Hey, that Rough Rider, there's a character on the cover that looks so much like Theodore Roosevelt.
That's who it is.
Oh, okay.
He's the one who started them back in the day.
Yeah, I mean it's set during that time period. Like they're going to, where was it? Cuba? Was it Cuba? Yeah. So.
So it's like Sons of Anarchy meets the Old West or something.
Yeah, I mean it's really cool, and you get some really crazy like historical figures in American history that are sitting around the the table as like who controls everything. You know what I'm saying? It's really cool how they just kind of even some like American like more myth characters kind of show up, and you're like, was this person actually real, or was it just more a myth off of them? But they show up, and like I said, the art's really great. It's it's a darker book. It's kind of got that like kind of grimy old feel to it. So.
Well, this goes along a lot to what I said last week with some of the best titles are in indie comics. I remember looking at a few tweets that Eric Larson had put out a couple weeks ago, and when you look at companies like Marvel and DC, now that we no longer have the approved comic codes, I still think that they're still trying to maintain a certain image. Now, when you look at companies like Image Comics or who else is out there? You look at not Vertigo, even Vertigo a little bit, but you look at Zenoscope. I mean, they have no holds barred. They have no boundaries, so they can literally do anything that they want. And I think that when you have that going into a comic book, I think it makes for much better story potentially, because you don't have an image that you've really established for yourself. So in a way, you're kind of finding your image. You're kind of finding your identity, so you can just put out almost anything that you want, and I think it benefits people more likely than not because you put out such good stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and these are all creator owned, and we all know the benefit of that. Putting your love and your heart into your own title that you are able to retain. And that definitely shows in these as well.
Yeah, I would highly suggest check out AfterShock Comics website, because that'll give you a list of all their creators, and you're going to see names on there, or everybody who's attached to the company. You're going to see names on there that maybe you haven't seen in a while, that might get you excited, like Sam Keith.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got a lot of stuff on their plate that's about to come out as they kind of cycle through their titles.
Yeah. Marguerite Bennett's doing 2 books, I believe.
Yeah, Animosity sold out its first run. It's already on the second print.
Wow.
And for those of you who are variant chasers, I know there was at least one that was out there. Oh, here we are.
So
Hello.
Animosity already sold out the first print?
Yeah.
Great, man. I wasn't aware. Oh,
All
sorry.
right. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Hey, how you guys doing?
How you
Good,
doing,
good.
Joe?
Thanks
Okay.
for taking the time out here to do this. I know how you said you were, swamped and super busy. So, as much time as you want to dedicate, that's completely up to you. All right.
No problem. I don't know what I'm doing, so
All right.
Nor do we.
So we were just talking about AfterShock itself, and
Great.
all the amazing titles that you guys have coming out, and just how amazing, in terms of the sales and where you are in terms of the rankings that all the books are doing. So I wanted to give you kudos for that.
Thanks.
Right. And one of those, of course, is one of your books, right? The one that you're writing, Black Eyed Kids. So definitely want to talk about that. But before, can you give a little bit of an intro for those here on the panel and the people watching?
Well, for Black Eyed Kids?
Well, for yourself.
Okay, sure, no problem. Yeah, Joe Pruitt. I'm the CCO/publisher of AfterShock Comics. I've been in the comic book industry for 27 years now, which is amazing because I'm only 30 years old. Nah, I wish.
Pretty good.
So I've done a little bit of everything. I started off as an art assistant on a comic book called Flaming Carrot Comics from Dark Horse Comics with Bob Burden. Then became a writer working with Caliber Comics, became an editor where I started a book called Negative Burn at Caliber Comics, became the creative director of Caliber Comics, where I basically helped Caliber become a company where you start your career and move on to become a company where the Garth Ennises and the Mobius and the Alan Moores and the world will come and do their own personal projects. At the same time, they're got to start working with a bunch of great young creators like Brian Bendis and David Mack and John Cassaday and Michael Ringo and a bunch of other great guys that came through the doors there. After Caliber, I've been like 98, I guess. Moved on and suddenly found myself working somehow or another in the X-Men office of books, writing comic books for them, X-Men Limited, Cable, some stops here in Wolverine and Gambit and Bishop and stuff like that. Magneto Rex, Domino, which was fun for a few years, which is where I ironically enough met Mike Martz, who's now our editor-in-chief at AfterShock Comics. He was one of my editors who gave me a lot of work there, so I felt I owed it to him to bring him along with me at AfterShock. Between AfterShock and X-Men, I started another company called Desperado Publishing, which I did for, 9, 10 years, partnered with Image for a couple of years, went solo for a couple of years, and then was like with IDW for like the last 5 when I was doing the company. I know won a few Eisner Awards, I think 5 as a company doing that. Wow. 6 nominations, 2, 3 wins, I think. So that's not too bad. And then this really started a few years ago, and ended up, it turned my phone off. And it took a few years to get going, and fell onto my lap, and recruited Mike, and recruited a bunch of other guys we're working with now, and we're doing this. So it's a lot of fun.
Excellent. Yeah, you guys have come right out of the gate, exploded onto the scene, and you got, what were the first couple of titles that you had for AfterShock?
The first month, we did 4 titles in December of last year, so that would have been, first book was Replica with Paul Jenkins and Andy Clark. Paul is actually shares studio space here with me at the studio I work out of. Then we had Insects with Marguerite Bennett. That Mike Martz had to work with the Batman office and brought it to us. Then we had Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor working on Super Zero. Then fourth, what was Dreaming Eagles with Garth Ennis. The next month we added Justin Jordan Strayer and Brian Azzarello's American Monster.
Excellent, excellent. Since we're talking about the genesis of the company, kind of transition into the genesis of Black Eyed Kids. How did you come up with the concept for this? book?
Black Eyed Kids is actually it's an urban legend, which I didn't know much about until a few years ago, and I must have been scrolling on Facebook or something, and I found a link that's like 50 urban legends for 50 states. So I love stuff like that, so I clicked on it and checked it out, and one of the states said Black Eyed Kids. I said, what the hell is this? I'd never heard of this before, and then I started looking into it, and it was so creepy and spooky, and I was like, I've got to write a story about this. I've always wanted to do a horror series, never have. So this is my first one doing that, and I've had a blast doing it.
Yeah, I remember reading, maybe I saw something on TV, but there was a story about, this guy, and he was late at night, and he rolled into this town in his car, completely deserted, and all of a sudden these little kids came up to the window and knocked on the glass, and, Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. They want to ride, or they're coming to your house and use the phone or something to call for a ride. They apparently you become overcome with unnatural fear for no reason before you even notice their eyes. And once you notice their eyes, that's when you start slamming that door.
Right.
No, I would.
Exactly. Solid black eyes. That's creepy. Yeah. But as soon as I saw that, I think I saw it in the solicit that there was a book called, Black Eyed Kids, and it was, tied into this concept. I was like, yes, I'm there.
Black Eyed Children by David Weatherly. I haven't read it. I have a copy of it. He sent me a copy of it after I started the series, and he's been a nice guy and supported the series, and I do definitely want to read this book. I will make sure I read it during the daytime, I'm sure, because I don't want to be stressed out. I do most of the writing of this late at night, so I'll look out and say, what would be really spooky right now? Oh, I'll write that. So I don't know how I sleep sometimes, but.
Well, that's funny. So you said you were kind of looking to write a horror story for a while, right?
Yeah.
What are some of your inspirations around that? Because there's definitely some, different subgenres within that.
As far as the thing of cinema, I love the Japanese horror films. I like them because they're, unlike most American films, they're all about mood and atmosphere and not gore and slasher. I prefer. I get more scared if something's presented in a fashion where your imagination helps supply some of the fear, as opposed to just seeing somebody get cut open with a chainsaw. So I love that part of cinema. I love as a novelist named Dan Simmons, who did a book. I used to read a lot of his novels. When he first started as a writer, he did a lot of horror stuff, and one book was called Summer of Night, which is one of the spookiest books I've ever read. So I enjoyed that tremendously. And then as far as comics go, I grew up obviously liking the House of Mysteries and the Warren magazines from the 70s. And Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing when it was a horror slant to it, and the early Hellblades with Jamie Delano. All that stuff's just really, I love, so I've always wanted to do something that vein as well.
Very cool. I'm curious, how did you get teamed up with Mr. Kudransky? Was that somebody that you found?
I actually worked with Mike over at DC, I believe, and I wasn't aware of his work. Apparently, he works on Spawn for like 50 issues as well, not being a Spawn reader. But he was actually tagged to do a different project at AfterShock, and for whatever reason, realized it wasn't the right fit for him. And so I always wanted to do Black Eyed Kids. I had in the back of my mind I was going to do it, but the first year after Shock, I was like, okay, I won't write. I just will focus on editing and putting stuff together. But when the assignment opened up, and we already agreed to do a book with him, and I was like, well, I do have this project right here, and kind of slid over to Mike March, my other partner, and said, yeah, I think he might be a good fit for this series here. And of course, I have to submit a book like anybody else does for the company. I can't just decide I want to publish something from my own books. And so I sat there and going through the process of getting it approved, and when they surprisingly did, and I was like, oh yeah, I got Simon, and he's just been phenomenal. He'd be a perfect fit for the book.
Absolutely, and it's been amazing. The writing, the atmosphere. I have them here. I came prepared.
Okay, great.
Got all my issues here. I think some of the other panel as well. But if you go through and you look at it, just the art, and it contributes so much to the story that it's a perfect pairing. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't have to overwrite the book at all because I know he'll set the mood I want. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times the panels he draws tell the story. so I don't have to verbally do it myself, which I prefer. I don't like to overwrite. You won't know that if you read my X-Men comics back in the day, because I did overwrite too. I guess it's kind of like that's the X-Men thing to do back then with Claire Claremont working with me too. But yeah, I love it. And Simon is so incredibly fast. I can't keep up with him, which is the only artist I've ever worked with probably like that. I'll finish. I'm not kidding. I actually finished the script for number 5, and a week later I had the issue done in my hands. It's like, I got to write number 6 now. So he's so fast. And I just turned in. He just gave me 10 pages, number 7. Within a week of me giving him the script for it, the first 12 pages. So he keeps me on toes, and also. Again, we work so well together as far as him adapting my script so well. He also comes in with some great ideas in the panel layouts as well, which I might not have thought of, that he adds to it. So he adds to the character of it.
Yeah, that's perfect. I had a question here for you, kind of about perspective. This is definitely about black-eyed kids, but a big part of this is the adults in the story, right?
Right.
Was there an evolution there to get to that point, or did you always kind of know you wanted it to be, sort of that perspective?
Well, I always kind of wanted it to be about family, about relationships. The black-eyed kids are kind of the background characters, so most of the time. So I want to be more about the family and the relationship between the kids and the parents and stuff like that, because I have a large family myself. I have 6 kids.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all great kids. And so a couple of the characters in Black Eyed Kids are kind of based on a couple of my kids. A few of them, actually. Like the little blonde leader of the Black Eyed Kids. Without me giving a character description to Simon when he was drawing, it actually looks just like my youngest boy. So he, of course, claims that's him. And and the older kid and the boy in the Black Eyed Kids, Michael, I have a son named Michael, who, interesting enough, in the first issue, there's a couple of, the sleepwalking scenes. Mm-hmm. Remember the issues? My son was a sleepwalker. And so he would do these spooky little sleepwalking, and I said, I got to use that later on. And so I always remember and write it down, and actually the scenes in the first issue are from him sleepwalking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and another scene I just wrote in this issue is actually a scene that happened to me at one point, which I'm not going to tell what it is in the 7th issue, but I think it's really kind of odd to me is that when I get to see something spooky or something happens, I'm like, I have to put that in Black Eyed Kids. Now, I'm not spooked by it. Instead, I'm like, I have to write this down, remember it, and use it later on. So I told Mike, I said, you need to start sleepwalking some more. I need some more stories.
That's too funny. So AfterShock, the company itself, it started, first couple of titles in December, right? 2015.
Yeah.
How's it? Right?
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah. How's it been working for a company that's still in that explosive beginning stage? Is it?
Well, it's fine, actually. I'm used to it. When I was at Caliber, Caliber formed, I guess, in '89. I started working with Caliber in '92, but they were still infants at the time. They were still finding their way, and myself, and then my twin brother Jim, who became the managing editor at Caliber, we came in and helped, I think, fortify the company. At the time, in the late '90s, we were a company that was booming and doing great stuff until the distribution wars kind of destroyed us. Because every time there used to be like 9 different distributors instead of just one like you have today. Right. And every time a distributor got out of business in like '97, it was like a war about who could be exclusive. And what happened was when Marvel bought Heroes World, the number 3 distributor at the time, that caused everything to change. And everybody was panicking. And so every time a distributor got out of business, they would go out of business owing us money. And so at the time, the last 2 standing was going to be Diamond and Capital City. And Capital City was half our business. And so when they went out of business, got bought by Diamond, or whatever happened to them, that was half our income for Caliber, and it didn't come back. It didn't translate to Diamond. So I did that with Caliber. Then Desperado, I started myself and ran it myself. I had one employee and then a couple of people who helped out, and did that for 10 years. So this isn't new. I've actually never been with a big publisher, so I don't know what that's like. That's one reason that Mike Martz, I think, was a great fit for us, is that we are. I think as AfterShock, we always say we are a independent company with experience of a major. So we have Mike, who's worked at Marvel and DC all his career for 15, 17 years. So that influence comes in, and then I'm the independent comic guy. So we are a good balance.
Right, it's perfect. And you guys are definitely veterans in the industry at this point. So
Yeah, I think about 50 years between us right now.
wow.
But we're a new company, but we got a lot of experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just with yourselves, but with your the creative teams and,
Right.
and the people you've pulled in. So some really fantastic names there as well. We were talking about this before. Kind of, there's always sort of a sweet spot, if you will, with the amount of titles that are out.
Yeah.
What would that be for AfterShock? I know sometimes you don't want too many, flooding the market. You don't have time to focus on.
We want to be able to keep it lean and mean enough where a fan of AfterShock, because we want fans for the line and not just for titles.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to keep it lean enough where you can still buy all our titles if you're a fan. We're doing 8 to 10 a month right now. We might get up to 15, maybe 20 eventually, but we're not in a rush to get there. We want to keep it as tight as we can. Keep the quality there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure that the books that you have out are like the quality, like you said. And, don't want to just put stuff out just for the sake of putting it out. So you guys have done a great job with that so far. So is there anything that we can that you can tease for Black Eyed Kids for the future?
Let me think about it. I'm trying to remember where I am in the series and what you've read so far. We're through issue 5 in print.
Yep.
Is that right? Okay. The character who shows up in issue 4, the older guy who premiered in the AfterShock Genesis short story, he's got a lot of history involved in this. I think you're probably noticing as the story goes on, there's a lot of connections between the characters that you wouldn't expect to have connections to. So there's something in the past that connects a lot of the characters. And so that's a good tease. And we'll get to that pretty quickly, I think.
I'm intrigued.
Joe, I got to break in here. I'm Justin. And the guys at my shop, Dr. Knows.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's
Cliff and everybody said, hey, I think I got one of your signed books.
Oh, that's my signature.
That was awesome. I didn't realize it until you jumped on the screen, or until I saw Jesse's copy.
Let you know, Justin, I think me and Francesco can come do a signing there middle October when the trade comes out.
I'll be there.
So make sure you come by.
I'll be there. It's awesome.
I love these covers that he's been doing.
Oh, I love Francesco. He's great.
Yeah.
And it's to a point I don't even have to art direct him on it. I tried doing that one issue, and I'm not don't tell him this, but it was, to my mind, it was a weak issue she did. And I was like, I think I'm not going to art direct him anymore. I think I'm going to just do what you want. Just do what you want. Just do creepy stuff. They're good for me.
It's definitely paid off. These are phenomenal covers. And it's still, it plays right into the atmosphere of the book. It's dark and brooding. Especially this first cover here. Look at them. Those just
have you seen all the variant covers?
I have, yeah. Well, I don't think I've seen all of them. I've seen a couple of them.
There's a con exclusive variant cover you can only get at cons that Simon did for issue 1, and it's got black eyeballs hanging in somebody's hands. I think he kind of repurposed it later on in issue 4, I think, when he cuts the guy's the eyes out. But that was a cover that you can only get at the convention, so I think that's kind of a cool one. He's also done a few variant covers just for retailers that have been phenomenal. I'll show them to you at some point.
Okay, yeah, I definitely want to see those. So people always ask, what is your convention schedule? Are you on the tour, so to speak, or?
My convention schedule is like every other day. It feels like. I'm gonna show you something. Okay, here's it's the Gatos variant cover. You've seen that one, right? That's it's sent to cover for issue 1.
Nice.
Actually, Gatos was going to be the original artist for the series a few years ago when we first started talking about it, but his schedule didn't work out. This is a Simon cover he did for Shellfish Comics in Winston-Salem. think it's like 175 of that. And just a new one too, but I don't have it. I have it on PDF only because it's for issue 6. I'm sorry, you were asking me something?
Hey Joe,
Yeah.
how are you, sir? I'm Jose, Comics and Stuff. I just wanted to chime in because now as a collector, I have to go pick up every variant you showed.
Oh, do you? Okay. Well, I know with this one, like I said, Shellfish, you can ask him, but I think it was selling for like $40 on eBay. This one, if you see me, just come. I'll get you one. Don't worry about it.
All right, sweet. You know, the funny thing, because anybody who knows me in the community knows that I'm always drawn to a book's art first. But with the Black Eyed Kids, I watch Ancient Aliens and all these different shows, and that's when I first got, I first found out about Black Eyed Kids, and you can't help but be intrigued by the whole phenomenon. Well, that caught my eye with your book, but as soon as I start reading it, I feel like I'm being drawn into a Hitchcock movie, but with a taste of Outcast, and I was thumbs up on how you guys went about.
Oh, great! Thanks.
Publishing.
Yes, I saw somebody compare the first issue to like a Hitchcock movie, and I was like, wow, that's just great praise. I mean, I never thought I would hear that, so I'm happy to hear that more than once.
Absolutely. It was great. And then now with what is it, Rough Riders?
Yeah.
And Animosity, which I haven't had an opportunity to read myself, but you've got a shitload of great books out. So kudos.
Thanks. Hey, Animosity is 3rd printing coming up.
Wow.
And I think it's going to go to a 4th printing if I had to predict right now, because I thought I printed a pretty good 3rd print run, and I think I underprinted it again.
Very cool.
That's a nice problem to have, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know what your question was. It was about conventions, my convention schedule.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
I just remembered. Okay. Oh my gosh, since April, to C2E2. At one point, from C2E2 for the next 15 weeks, I was gone 10 of those 15 weekends, either at a convention or a book signing. I did 2 with Garth Ennis, one at Shellfish and one at Third Eye up in Maryland. And then there was, like in June, I was gone 3 out of 4 weekends to conventions. Then San Diego, then I just did Kansas City, not last weekend, but the weekend before. Then I leave Thursday to go to Baltimore for the Diamond Retailer Summit. We're only into the Baltimore Comic Con. Get back Sunday night, and then Thursday morning I leave to go to England to go to a show in Birmingham, England. And I'll be there until the following Wednesday. And then I know I got at least, I think, 2 signings after that. New York Comic Con. And then a couple of signings at the end of the month when the Black Eyed Kids #1 black and white version comes out for the Halloween edition. Then another show in Atlanta in November. And I get invitations every week now, so I try to do as much as I can, but
I can imagine.
it's kind of rough. and help run the company, so I don't get off very often, or weekends.
It's definitely con season.
Yeah, for sure.
I think every weekend is a con season now. I don't think there's a weekend that doesn't have a con anymore.
Just so I know, Joe, what's in November? Is that the Heroes and Villains Con?
Yeah, they gave me a booth there, so I'm coming down there with Francesco, Franco Villa, Paul Jenkins, Brian Stelfreeze, and Wilfredo Torres.
Awesome. I'll see you there also.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool.
Are you also going to be doing the Rhode Island Con?
I haven't been invited to that one. When is it?
It's in November as well.
Is it? I've never been to Rhode Island that I know of. I would love to go if somebody invited me. I'm very easy to say yes to. I love traveling. So I would go to Serbia if somebody asked me to go. I've been to Croatia. Never been to Serbia.
That'll be a long way to go.
I'll do it.
We have a question here in the chat. It's from Sean. His handle is Gene Polly is Peter. He's all the way up in Newfoundland. He says.
Before I get going, Garth Ennis wants to do a signing up there somewhere. Is someplace particular. So if your buddy here can find a signing for Garth Ennis, he'll come up to do it.
That's awesome. You heard that, Sean? Look him up. So he says that he's seeing a lot of comparison to Twilight Zone in Black Eyed Kids. So he's wondering how much of an influence or inspiration is Rod Serling to you as a writer, and then what are some of your other influences, or what are other things that influence your writing style?
Well, I would say with Twilight Zone, I don't think it's a huge influence that I know of, but having said that, I did watch a lot as a kid, so it might have been part of my developmental process. I just don't realize I'm doing that anymore. Other writing influences, I don't know. I mean, I love the 80s guys like Alan Moore, and then the 90s guys like Neil Gaiman. And Frank Miller, back in his prime, I always liked the way he did the storytelling without, again, letting the pictures tell the story a lot, which instead of overwriting it. So I think I do use that aspect of it. Did I just lose somebody, or what happened here? But okay. But yeah, I think movies influence me writing, because I think a lot of people do say I do write like I'm doing a film. And again, I don't think I realize I'm doing that. It's just what I like, so it's how I write it.
You definitely get drawn into the story the way you write, for sure.
Oh, great, thanks. And somebody told me last week that when they read this, what they liked about the series is that when they read it, they don't just put it aside. They actually put it aside and then start thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And they start thinking about, well, what did that mean, or who is that character, and what was this scene, which is really what I want to do, because when I was a big fan of Lost when it came out, and Battlestar Galactica on the Sci-Fi Channel, and when I really got into the shows, I'm not saying I was a fan of the ending of it, but when I got into the shows, there's so many mysteries and so many little nuances that if you didn't really pay attention, there might be a background or something like here, you would miss something later on that would mean something. So I try to do that too. And so if you're thinking about the story after it's written, then that's what I'm succeeding in what I want to do. I want to get a message board up where people can come in and start doing theories.
That would be awesome. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You went into explaining the whole BEK phenomenon when the father was talking to his girlfriend, and his girlfriend was telling, hey, this is online, blah blah blah. So just in case the people that don't know about the phenomenon, they're brought up to par.
Right. Yeah. That's one reason I kind of mentioned it, because I wanted to know this is a real thing, or a legend, an urban legend thing. I've actually thought about it doing some backstory in the issues itself, the comic book issues, where I have some extra pages. Maybe instead of put an ad in, I might put in, here's some, real life BEK, activity that's going on, recently or in the distant near past or whatever. I've actually even thought about asking David, the writer for the book that you're talking about, maybe come in and be like a guest speaker in the back and do some real life stuff and get people excited about, or at least look into the urban legend.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
People write in with their own experiences and put them in the back, like a letter section.
A couple of people have said they've had real life experiences with Black Eyed Kids, and I said, well, I'd love to hear about it. Wow. I've also thought about doing a letters page. I miss letter pages. But just have people write me notes, letters, and then answer it in the voice of the little boy king, Black Eyed Kid. and so funny.
I thought you were referencing. Now this is from me watching too much Ancient Aliens. But I thought you were kind of referencing the Anunnaki, where they considered, quote unquote, the world and the population just slaves, and we work for them, and that's how I call him the young guy, because he's like the young, black-eyed kid, but he's kind of like, no, you're a bunch of cows, you do what, this type of cow, this one.
You have two purposes.
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with that, and I do have that. In the back of my head probably at times. I actually want to do a story with an Anunnaki. But I call the little kid the Boy King. That's how I write my scripts, because I don't have a name for him. I just call him Boy King. So Simon knows what I'm talking about. And, of course, my son Steven thinks that's him because he thinks he's a king.
It's going to get to his head.
Well, yeah, I mean, I do like the Ancient Aliens. I didn't even know they did a Black Eyed Kid segment on Ancient Aliens until after I started writing the book. And I was watching late at night in History 2 or something, and I was like, oh, geez, they have that on here too.
Never invite them into your home.
Nope, you don't. You don't do that.
That's right.
I was thinking about like a good cosplay idea, and at cons they sell the black lenses, the black contacts.
I
So
thought about that too. Yeah, it'd be
yeah,
easy to cosplay Black Eyed Kid. So if I can
right.
find those, I think I'm gonna do a video because we do little videos for AfterShock occasionally with the creators. We'll talk about their series, and they wanted me to get my little. Again, I have 6 kids, so get my younger kids behind me, like they're coming to attack me as I'm talking about Black Eyed Kids, and put the contact lenses in their eyes. Yeah, I look forward to my first cosplay at a convention with all these. With somebody coming with black eyes. That would be so cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be hilarious, especially the picture I did with your kids. That'd be something really cool to see.
Especially the 2 kids who are in the book, with Michael and Steven. I'll do that.
Oh man, I don't know if I would, go up and shake their hands or run the other way.
You're okay. Now go ahead.
I see you guys have Layla. What's her? Layla Layers involved in the team as well. She's with.
She's doing Altars with Paul Jenkins.
Right. She's a great artist. She's awesome.
Yeah, I like her stuff a lot. She's an Italian artist who I've noticed her work for a couple of years now. So excited to be working with her on that. And we just sent Altars from 1 to press into last week. So excited about that book coming out. It's done very well for us.
The first quote-unquote official transgendered superhero.
Well, the first, I guess, main character. I think when the press releases went out to New York Times and other places, that's what they used, and it was actually wrong. So that's not what we said. but yes, it's the first, I guess, transgender character that carries her own series.
Gotcha.
But there'll be other characters. She's just one of the alters. She's just the first story arc, mainly the focus of the first story arc. But there's actually, other things going on around there too that Paul will be introducing.
I was gonna say, if you want to get technical, I mean, wouldn't Mystique be one of the first because she can switch to anybody?
Oh, well, I guess that's a good point. I know. Grant Morrison had one of Doom Patrol back in the day, and I know there's been a few others that have been pointed out on the internet since that article went out. So we weren't trying to say that, but it's just how it got headlined.
It's all good. I mean, it's one of those things where it's just like, who knows? I mean, you want to put it out as the actual main character in a book, so it's just like, I mean, there's always going to be someone like, I did it first, or this and that. Just, what? The way I see it is, it's a brave step forward. So, just create the best book you can, and if people like it, I mean, and from what it sounds like, everyone loves it. So, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I think AfterShock, it's one thing we want to do is take chances. We're not trying to be a company that is afraid to, I guess, take a chance, move a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Joe, I wanted to ask you a quick question. Tell us a little bit about the Eisner Award. Are we talking about the Super Bowl of comic book awards here? And what other writers have that same award as you do?
Oh, well, every year the Eisner Awards obviously has a different winner. I personally have been nominated for 6, I think. Best editor when that used to be a category. Best anthology a couple of times when I was doing Negative Burn. Best short story one year when I adapted the Neil Gaiman story. I know it only got nominated because Neil Gaiman's name was attached to it, but still, I'll take it. What else? I can't remember. A couple times for best art book. When I was doing Desperado, I did a line of like 10 art books with like Brian Baum, which I designed and edited for. So that won the Eisner. P. Craig Russell was nominated for it. The Desperado Flaming Carrot, which I published at Desperado, won for best humor series. I don't remember all of them completely, to be honest, but it's 6 personal nominations and 5 for Desperado.
What other writers have this award as well with you?
Oh,
like, are we talking Chris Claremont, Scott Snyder, big writers like that, or
best writers? No game isn't all of them won it. The best short story of the year, I was nominated. I lost to Frank Miller, so I expected that. I don't think I showed up in shorts and a T-shirt, and everybody was dressed up in tuxes and suits. I just knew I wasn't to get up on stage. Another year, I was up against. I can't remember who I was up against, but I knew again I wasn't going to win, and so it was held at the Marriott outside the next to Convention Center in San Diego at the time, and there was a bar outside the the hall where the Eisners were going on. And so I sat out there and shot pool and drank with Garth Ennis and John McRae because I was so sure it would be more fun doing that than sitting at the front of the Eisner Awards and know I'm going to lose. So I just walked up the very back of the hall every once in a while and say, okay, where are they at in nominations right now? And I got there right in time for mine and went, okay, I lost, so I'm going to go back and play some more pool.
That's great. I just had to ask because I'm pretty ignorant when it comes to this type of stuff. All I know is there's comic books and pictures, and I read them, and that's it. So thank you very much for answering that question.
And the one year I personally won Eisner, I wasn't there. So I didn't get to accept it. I didn't go that year. So first year, like in 15 years, I didn't go, and of course I won. So I had a friend accept it for me, which I hate public speaking, so that's okay.
Worked out well then, right?
I guess.
Yeah. Are you guys accepting any writers or artists or pitches or proposals?
Honestly, it's much easier for an artist to show us something because if you're an artist, you can look at it in 3 minutes and know if they're good or not. As for a writer, I'm always ready to help new creators, and I think Mike is as well. Caliber, that's one thing. When I was doing Negative Burn, where at Caliber, what we did was sell the company or the book would be the name guys. So like the Garth Ennis's or the Alan Moores. Like I had Brian Ball in every issue of Negative Burn, and I had Neil Gaiman drawing in Negative Burn. Who else can say that? And so those guys would sell the book, but it was the heart and soul of the books were always the young guys. Like like John Cassidy's first work was a Negative Burn, and I'm actually the guy who put John and Warren Ellis together on a project at Caliber, which ended up not happening, but they went on and started the Planetary together. So yeah, I'm always looking for that next superstar to find, the next talent to work out. So it was AfterShock being a new company without characters that you can rely on selling. We kind of had to go with the big name guys to sell our brand and our comics. But as we continue to grow, we definitely get the up and comers or the new person. Marguerite was up and comer, and she's been great with us. And her new book Animosity has been a blockbuster hit for us last couple of weeks. And guys like Ray Fox, and there's a few guys who are in the system, not on the schedule yet, but we've been bringing forward. So yeah, definitely we want to do that. I would say right now though, we're probably about a year or so. There we go, a year or so booked up. But as we grow the brand and the line, then we'll be able to bring in the newer guys and help them further their careers as well. And we all enjoy doing that.
Hey Joe, I don't know if you guys could see this because I wish I had it on my on Mac, but I have it on my laptop here. But you have to give kudos. I'm a colorist and inker. Okay. I work for an independent company myself. And this page from book 3, I don't know if you guys can see the bottom.
I see it.
That eerie look to it just caught my eye.
Yeah, it's a flashback. So I ask guys that they make sure the flashbacks is staying apart from the present day, so you're in a flashback. But yeah, I think guys did an amazing job with the mood and the colors of the series. I'm very happy with them.
He did a great job with the layout. Everything's blends in smoothly. He did a really good job.
It's a great team, and not just myself, but I mean the creative people I'm working with are a great team. So I'm very happy with that. From cover artist to the letterer, and I think everybody just meshes so well. It's the most fun I've had in a comic book I've ever written. So.
Wow. Okay.
Other than what you're doing right now, I mean, what would be your, I guess, dream book to write on, I guess?
Hang up. Okay. I don't know, man. I've got to do a few of my dreams. I love Magneto, so I got to write Magneto. I always wanted to be the guy who replaced Neil Gaiman with Sandman, but that didn't happen, unfortunately. I always liked John Constantine, but I'm not British. So I don't know, man. As far as Marvel comics, my favorite characters there I always want to do is Moon Knight and Daredevil and Captain America. Like I said, I got to do all the X-Men players, play with all the X-Men characters. That was fun. And at DC, yeah, I'd like to do a Batman story. Who wouldn't? And I mentioned Constantine, and maybe a bizarre, unknown, forgotten character. That'd be kind of fun. I have to look back and see what's available.
Nice.
Yeah. It looks like you were credited on Cable as well.
Yeah, I wrote Cable for a little while. I think 7 issues, I believe. I came back with Rob Liefeld when he came back, which was interesting. So I think Rob and I only did 3 issues together. Then that didn't last long. The book didn't. I didn't stay on the book very long, and when I was doing my X-Men Unlimited for as a regular artist, when it was tied into the regular X-Men title, so everything they were doing, I was reflecting into my series, and that was a lot of fun. The strange thing is that when I was left Cable and left X-Men Limited, I had lined up, I don't know, 6 or 7 limited series at Marvel. So I was doing I had a Wolverine series, the miniseries with Andrew Robinson I was going to do. I brought Esad Ribic to Marvel to work on a Wolverine Psylocke painted miniseries that I wrote it all. It just never came out. My editors left the company, so I kind of stopped all these projects. I had a Banshee series with Jordan Raskin. I had a Beast, I think, with Phil Hester. A couple of things I don't remember off the top of my head. But then there was turnover in editorial staff, and all my work went away. So I took a year off from comics, and went, you know what I miss doing is working with my buddies and do their own stories, and that's why I started Desperado.
Very cool.
Have you written in other mediums besides comic books? Because you mentioned you took a year off. Did you do writing?
Oh well, I wish. No, I kind of took a year off to re-energize because as much as I enjoyed working in the X office and everything, it kind of sapped my creativity because when you're doing a company book, it's a lot of times editorially driven, and so it's not really me coming in and being creative. It's me coming in and oftentimes doing what the editor wants you to do, or do again as I tied into several of the X-Men titles. I had to do all my stories around what everybody else was doing, so I wasn't able to really, I felt, create and be myself. So taking the year off allowed me to get back into my Creative Comics, mindset.
We were talking about that topic prior to you getting on to the panel about how the newer publishing companies they don't have those quote unquote limitations. The creativity is just, you guys pretty much could do whatever you want. Whereas with the bigger quote unquote publishers, you got to stick to this character description, etc., etc. So whereas with a new publishing company, Yeah,
definitely. That's the appeal to doing your own, doing independent comics, is that you're only limited by your imagination. So we don't have 75 years of history we have to worry about. You can start fresh and do what you really want to do.
Right. Anything you write at this point is canon. You don't have to worry. Right?
Exactly. Very true.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more fun because I'm writing, Black Eyed Kids, and I have it laid out how I think it's going to go for a little while, but as I write each issue, or even different pages in a panel, in a scene, I'm like, it starts writing itself. And I just finished up a scene in issue 7, and I had one more page to go in the scene, and next thing I know, I'd written 3 pages, and it was totally not what I thought I was going to write when I started that page. And I was like, wow, it just morphed into something even better. And I was like, wow, this is perfect. This is great. Why did I think that before? So that's what I like about it. I don't have to strictly follow my outline. It writes itself as it goes.
Yeah, that's not what I'm aware of. How when I think of a writer, I'm thinking, okay, they already have X amount of books already lined up in their mind, and they already have it. The 10 books ready for we just need to get the art on published and all. But you take it from book to book where anything goes pretty much.
Well, again, as I said, I can have an outline for the next 4, 5, or 6 issues or longer. I mean, I kind of know where I want things to eventually be, but it's getting there that's the fun part. So, I might have an outline for the next 3 issues, but as I find myself writing that issue 7 or issue 8, I'm like, sometimes it will just take a left turn that I didn't see until I started writing it. And it's done that several times in the series. So that's actually makes it really fun for me.
I've read up to book 3. I need to get my hands on 4 and 5 pronto. I'm just excited to see where. Obviously, maybe it's already gone to that point with 4 and 5, but where Meredith, what's her name? Meredith?
Meredith.
How she comes into play, because I pretty much got to a point where she, they show her as a child and she's interacting. Well, the page that I showed you.
Yeah.
I'm interested in how her character comes into play for sure.
Well, I won't tell you now, but I will tell you read the end of issue 6, and there's going to be a little twist there you're not seeing coming.
Okay.
With her character. So,
right. Awesome.
And issue 8 would be a lot. Well, probably issue 9 would be a lot more her story. So
she looks like she's gonna knock the little kid's head across the wall, the room once in a while.
Maybe.
She's a tough cookie.
She is. Right. I like get the tough women, the strong female characters in there.
But he definitely tries to keep the cows in place.
Yeah, yes. I'm trying to think what issue this is. I think it must be issue 6, where he has some good lines. So I like writing that character.
And it's like the young scrappy guy. He's the leader. It's just a lot of nice. The way you guys set it up is really cool.
Yeah. I like too how with the story it's sort of like you mentioned it before, like peeling back the layers and figuring out how everything's connected, and it's starting from the beginning, it just like ratchets up the tension steadily and just draws you in right away. Looking forward to it. When does issue 6 come out? I know it's obviously next month.
Issue 6 it's going to the printers next week. So what's that about? Mid-month, perhaps. Yeah, I think it's around the 15th, give or take.
Justin, you got to get us a couple of those books, Justin.
I'll bring them to you, Justin. Don't worry.
Okay.
I got about 5 minutes, guys, and I have to walk off.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We have one last question in the chat. It's from Daniel. His name is Nerdivision. He says that he recently finished his Ninja Turtle run on Flaming Carrot.
Okay. Yeah, I worked on that, yeah.
Yeah, he said he saw your name on there. He was actually wondering what it was like working with Bob Burton.
Bob was, he's a total character. He's a lot of fun. Bob gave me my break in comics. I graduated from college at University of Georgia, and I didn't start reading Flaming Carrot until towards the end I was graduating. I kind of dropped out of comics during college because I spent my money on girls and going out instead. When I had a steady girlfriend at the end of my career, which is now my wife, I started reading comics again, go to the comic shop in her hometown, and I picked up Flaming Carrot for the first time, and I loved it. It was just so bizarre and crazy. It was just perfect, and I noticed he used assistants in his comics, and he gave them credit in the credit page, which I've never seen before, and I was like, wow, that's great. And he lived in Atlanta, which is right down the road from where I was going to college. And so I graduated and didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I just wrote him a letter. I said, look, I just graduated college. He went to University of Georgia. I went to University of Georgia. He's down the street. He's assistants. I want to break into comics. I'm not your typical, and no offense to anybody, I'm not your typical nerdy little comic guy. And I was an athlete. I played sports. At the time, I was doing a little bit of bill modeling because I have a big ego. And just trying to find a real job, and so I wrote him a letter, and about 3 weeks later he called me up and told me to come meet him, and I met with him at his house, and he offered his job as his assistant, so I did that for 2 or 3 years on and off, and I would go to Bob's house when Bob, his lifestyle was a lot different than most people were. He's up to 4 or 5 in the morning and sleeps till lunchtime, so we'll go have lunch at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and start working that night, and then go out every night afterwards, and somewhere where everybody knew Bob's name around Atlanta. Every place we went to was no cover charge. Bob. So and then through Bob, so through Bob I started meeting his friends. That's how I met Brian Ballin for the first time. That's how I was introduced to Alan Moore, and I started making connections through his friends and learning craft. I transcribed a lot of his crazy and wonderful thoughts, and so I'll read it, and as I'm typing them in for him, because he walked around with a tape recorder all the time. It had a thought, he would record it, and then I would transcribe it later on, which was not the funnest thing in the world. But also I got to do some inking, and did some, learned how to letter, and I broke in, wanted to be an artist, and then quickly realized, meeting all these great guys, that I would never be an artist because I didn't have the skill they did or the speed. So I decided I was going to become a writer, and that's when I started writing. And then I decided I was going to become an editor, and made myself an editor. And but Bob is a lot of fun. And so when I first started Desperado, one of the first things I did, I went and asked Bob to bring back Flame and Carrot and let me publish it for him. Because my goal in life is anybody I ever work for is going to work for me one day or another. So I've got about 5 or 6 of those under my belt. So I got a couple more to get.
Good for you. Hey, Joe, be honest with us. Joe, do you see Black Eyed Kids on AMC or Cinemax?
I see it's a TV show. One of my partners, 2 of my partners in AfterShock are movie producers, and so one of my partners sees it as a movie, and I met with him in San Diego. We were actually meeting with a movie company in San Diego about Black Eyed Kids, one of the things we brought up, and so my partner's saying, "Oh, it's going to be a movie," and I interrupted. I said, "I'm sorry, it's a TV show." And he's like, "No, I think it's going to be a movie." I said, "No, I think it's a TV show." We're doing this like discussion in front of the movie executive, but it was all good and fun. But I'll be happy either way. But it's a TV show, so
I definitely I'm telling you, it's like a Hitchcock / Outcast feel to it.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. And my studio where I'm located, I'm here with Paul Jenkins and Brian Stelfreeze and my studio mates here, but we're in a movie studio here in Atlanta, where, for instance, Fast and Furious 8 just wrapped up. Fast 7 was filmed here. Mockingjay was filmed, parts 1 and 2. Parts of Captain America 3 was filmed here. Now I had Tom Cruise as a hallmate down here for 5 months when he was here filming a film. And there's another, the director who did Ghost Rider and the Daredevil movies is now right down the hall from me. They're doing something here. So, but what's really cool about this place is that there's a really, really creepy building area that's just kind of been abandoned for 15, 20 years, and I don't have to change anything. I can go in there, and that's my horror movie. So that's what I'm saying. I want this TV show, and I want it right here where I'm at, because we've already got the stage.
Yep.
That's perfect. All right, Joe, I know you said you had a couple minutes left, so I want to thank you very much for taking the time to do this. It's been extremely insightful, fun. I love the book, so looking forward to all the future issues here. Yeah.
Now, what I need you guys to do is talk the book up to everybody you know, including your mothers, because when you get those sales up, because I want to keep doing this book for a long time, so I need to get the sales up to do so. I mean, everybody who reads it seems to love it.
Yep.
I need more people to read it, so help me out, guys.
Oh, I blasted
It's a great book.
Thank you.
blasted it all over Facebook earlier today, so
Oh, good, thanks.
I'm already a step ahead of you.
Get those numbers up so I can do it forever.
Sure.
Sounds like a good plan.
Talented. We'll do our part for sure.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Oh, hang up.
Dude, I
That's
could
cool.
definitely see this as the next Outcast. Easy.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of potential there.
So does everybody want a signed book? I'll go back to the shop tomorrow.
Yes, Justin.
Yeah, I would love one.
All right.
I would love one as well.
I'll go get 4 more tomorrow.
Oh, I appreciate it, dude.
Thank you so much, Justin.
No problem. We may have to send them all to Jose first,
Yeah, you will, bro.
because they're all like,
Clean.
it's the number. He only signed the number 1 issues, and then they're up to 5. So it's 5 issues of back issues deep now. So.
No, but seriously, send them to me. I'll press them. Send them all in double backboards and Mylars, man, for sure, for the whole team, man.
Nice.
We'll work that out. That's gonna be our first team book.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to get into it. Like I've heard so many good things, and just my local shop is kind of just taking its time. Or I don't know if it's taking its time. Just like I said, it's probably just not a big title on their radar. Which I'm gonna go ahead and have a talk with them. Like, you need to stop picking up this book because from what you guys are saying, it sounds like it's an amazing book.
Really good book. I was impressed. Art and read wise, both.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's art first, but this is really good to read as well.
It's a perfect pairing with these two.
I think a lot of people need to get up on some of these indies, man. Just like it's just that alternative to what's out there, and if you are having I guess, event fatigue when it comes to and that's a phrase that Justin coined last week. But if you are having event fatigue from these, Civil War II or Rebirth, whatever, and you want something that's just different, you know what I mean? Check out these indies, because I mean, there's so much stuff that's out there that you would have no clue about just because of the fact that, we're all just so accustomed to reading the big names. Give some of these other guys a shot, because there's some stories out there that are amazing.
Have you seen Animosity yet? That's
No, I
another great one.
If you can
I
find the
got the
first
third
print,
printing, apparently.
yeah, if you can still find the first print, grab it.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Definitely.
I can't believe they're already up to like a 3, and he just sent off to 4th. That's
pretty amazing. Mm-hmm.
Well, you said that they're even reprinting the first one, or have already.
Well, they just finished the 3rd print run of it, and now they're going to a 4th.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not a cheap book. I'll just look on eBay.
Oh, really?
What are they going for?
We have. Let's see. I'm assuming that some of these are variants, but
Excuse me.
That one variant that he showed looked like the Outcast cover. Remember?
The one of him?
Black and white one?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's let's see, blind box variant exclusive, $78.
Wow.
See, blind box cover is $59. It's like a 1 in 50. The regular cover is up to $12.99. For some buy it now, it's $25, $32. There's still a few up for bids that aren't too out of control.
This is Animosity that you're looking at, or Black Eyed Kids?
Yeah, I mean.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind having even a regular cover. I just want to start.
I just got a regular cover. I mean, I didn't think it was going to sell out or anything like that. It's just another AfterShock book. But the premise of the book is really, really cool. What happens when your animals wake up and they start talking?
So can you guys see this?
Oh, I don't want my dog to say anything.
Yeah, mine.
Well,
over here.
in the solicit they have the pandas why are you letting us live so long, and they shoot each other.
Yeah.
And there's other animals that are angry and taking revenge on the humans. And then there's the dog there just going, well, I just love you.
You guys see my screen or no?
No, it just goes black.
Alright, hold on. I had a feeling I was going to do something like that. Hold on. Just do...
Okay, so let me ask a question real quick, because I've been kind of messing around trying to figure out what question I could do. So let me ask you guys this, and I'll ask this to the chat as well. Anybody who wants to answer, and just answer at any time. I'll start out easy. Now, keep in mind that this book, these questions, they come from the mid-'90s. So let me ask you guys this real quick. During Tony Stark's alcoholic days, who took over as Iron Man?
Jim Rhodes.
Rhodey.
I just sent that book to get slapped today. I kid
Are
you
you serious?
I kid you not.
Funny.
Dude, I have all those. I picked those up during that big sale that my local shop was having.
We can see it now, Chris.
Yeah. So these are the different. So these are different covers here. This is the regular, but I mean it's got some juice. This book already. It's not like what I mean. It's not like you're just sitting there looking at it. So I mean.
Wow.
Obviously not, you're not breaking the bank on it, but it's definitely. Whoa, what the hell's going on here?
Well, Justin, how long has it been out already? The book itself. How long has the book been out?
It's up to Animosity? First issue, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, so a couple of weeks though.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
In here, there's actually a preview in the back of it. So if you want to check it out and get some of the the interior work, the pages.
Right.
It was either 2 or 3 weeks ago that it came out.
Oh, okay.
That's one that slips under the radar, man.
Let me see if I can do this.
Now, I noticed that they do that a lot with their books. They'll preview another book in the back.
Yeah, see, that's nice art. I like that.
I like the paneling.
Yeah.
It feels very clean.
Yeah. And it's also Marguerite Bennett.
And then the animals just start talking.
See, there's
the panda scene.
Are those books normally $2.99 or $3.99 after the first issue?
$3.99.
Okay.
There's Joe.
Yeah, $3.99.
Yeah, $3.99.
But they don't have They haven't yet had any, Deadpool issues of $10.
Exactly. And let me tell you too, there's not many ads in here. I mean, there's a couple, obviously.
Right. And
But,
they try to keep it in the back.
Yeah, and when you talk about the price to the amount of pages, it's 32 pages. Like a Marvel book is going to be 24 pages by the time we take out all the ads, right? And it's still a $3.99 book. You're getting a lot more with this for the same $3.99. A lot more story.
Right, and you also got to think they're only putting out X number of books, 6 to 8 right now, whereas Marvel, who's putting out 100 books a month, is still at that price point,
Yeah, and they're at 20 pages, not 22 or 24.
Right.
Yeah.
What did Aspen say they were bringing out? About 5, 6 titles?
That's what he said. He was going to try to get to 5, right?
Yeah. They have Aspen Revelations going on right now, so.
Yeah, that comes out tomorrow, right? Issue 2?
Yeah. Issue 2, yeah.
But that's actually a smart idea on their part, just because Marvel's got so many books. I mean, and even DC on the other hand as well. They have so many books that they put out, and it's just like some of them are definitely going to be flops, and it's unfortunate because sometimes they have the good story, so it's just kind of like luck of the draw, like which story are you going to stick with that you think is going to be the one to move on? Because if you just so happen to latch onto a character that's just not popular, it's not going to make it past a few, maybe that first 6, 7 issues, or you're not going to see it go, ongoing, past that first year. So, but with those ones, I mean, it's just like once you get those, 5 or 6, it's just like it's very easy to find something that you like and then just continue on with it. So, I'm definitely rooting for these guys to have some more success, with these books to get them bigger and more, I guess, mainstream as far as being something that people are going to look forward to their comic shop to go in and get. So definitely looking to help out with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry.
Say we're in the modern era, I guess, technically, but I think we're moving pretty steadily into the indie era. I'm going to coin that term right now.
Indie era.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
No,
you heard it here
seriously,
first. Somebody make a t-shirt.
So many titles. So many.
First at JLS Comics.
That's right.
You know what though? I mean that's not a bad that's not a bad way to think about it, because if we do end up getting to the point where, let's say, Marvel now does flop, you know what I mean, and people kind of get a little sick of what's going on in some of the bigger companies. I mean, indies are the next big thing to come out, so I mean it would be cool to have some other competition, because I think that a little bit of the problem is that Marvel may have become a little complacent, and I love Marvel, but I think that they're so happy at the top spot that they need someone to kind of invigorate them again and make them want to make books that are going to be better than the competition. So
Image did.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll tell you, it's like this. The big publishing companies, they have the bandwidth, quote unquote, and the staff to be able to bring out hundreds of titles. But then the market is inundated with so many spins on a character or a storyline. Whereas with these smaller companies, the quote unquote staff that they do have just focus on the books that they're doing, and there's not spin-offs on that title. And then the market or us, the community, we're just focused on that one book, and we're just dying to see the next issue. So
right,
it works in their benefit.
And we don't have to worry about crossovers with most of these companies because their books are not in the same continuity.
Oh my gosh! Thank God.
That's annoying. That gets annoying as a collector.
I just want to thank Jesse for having Aspen on here last week, because I just found out that in 3 weeks at the amazing Houston Comic Con, Aspen Comics is actually have a booth set up at the convention.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
They had one in Boston. It was awesome. I absolutely recommend anybody going to that convention go back there and check out the stuff they have. It's just the most beautiful art you'll see. I mean, you get tons of Michael Turner stuff, and then just all their newer things that they're doing. So check them out. Do yourself that favor.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys aren't reading Lola XOXO or thinking about Volume 2, definitely put that on your radar. That's a really good book.
But
beautiful art.
Yeah. Suya Ohm, she's great, man. I love her art.
I'll try to find that tomorrow while I'm at the show.
If you like sci-fi, futuristic, they're kind of on the frontier, post-apocalyptic type of story.
Nice.
This will be right up your alley.
Space Western.
Yeah. So,
Cool. We want to get rolling into our
yeah.
stuff.
So, big thing that happened. Well, big thing, I guess. It was an announcement. You know, with Riri Williams, right? She was going to be the next big Iron Man, right? But now we found out that she's actually going to be called Iron Heart.
Yes.
So, do you guys like that name? Do you think that she'll be a good supplement to the Iron people, or do you think that I don't know? What are your thoughts on it? Let me just say that.
It's kind of a weird name, I'm not going to lie to you. Just because, I mean, if it's supposed to be like a take on Lionheart, I guess, but Ironheart, I don't know. I mean, they kind of give the female Iron Man characters, I mean, the only one that I've seen that they've had is Rescue, which is, you know, Pepper Potts. So they kind of give them names that aren't as, you know, I guess, I don't want to say strong, but they're not as, you know, like violent sounding. So maybe that's why they did it, where it's more of the, you know, kind of like a, you know, less vicious sounding name, where it's just like, you know, I mean, regardless of what they're going to do in the book, you know, they have a name that kind of, you know, makes it seem a little bit softer than what Iron Man, War Machine, those type of, you know, characters.
Yeah, I guess it's age appropriate.
Yeah, just
right.
soften it a little bit, I think.
Oh yeah, she's only 15, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they could have, like, they took their foot off the gas. Like, did they have it planned to just have her be Iron Man or change it to Iron Woman? And then they're like, whoa, we'll change it a little bit and make it Iron Heart, you know?
Yeah.
You know,
That's exactly how I feel. I feel like the market maybe influenced them somewhat.
The reaction, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
well, because
thinking,
they don't want to have another Captain America
exactly.
situation where it's just like we're burning books in the parking lot again, which,
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's what happened.
I think that's
Ironheart Hydra?
Well, she's a woman. You can't have her as Iron Man because she's a woman. I mean, Iron Woman kind of sounds it's too long. So I think Ironheart does sound a little bit better.
And Iron Chick wouldn't.
Iron Chick.
Could've made the
Iron
Iron
Person.
Chick, Iron Girl,
That's
like,
Iron Hottie.
Hey, no, she's 15.
yeah, I know.
Well, I think Riri just dug the name Riri. They should have called her Riri. Riri.
Iron Riri.
Iron Riri.
But I mean, it all depends on where they're gonna take the character, though. Just because, I mean, looking at I mean, no one really fully knows their plan, and the thing about it is that, you know, at the end of Civil War II, we're gonna figure out what exactly they're gonna do with her. Like, I'm just worried that it's gonna be something where, you know, you can't fully invest in her 100% just because you know that, you know, by the time that Infinity War comes out, Tony Stark will be back, you know, Bruce Banner will be back, and they're gonna do something to bring those guys back to kind of help boost the issues up again. So I kind of worry that she's gonna have kind of like the Azrael like type of vibe where it's just like, here's a new Batman, Azrael, and it's just like, yeah, we don't like his ass, so we're gonna bring back Batman again, which is kind of like, you know, one of those deals where it's just like, you don't want to create a hero that's only purpose is to bring back the original hero, just to be like, see, this is what you said you wanted, but you really want this again, don't you? It's just that's the only thing that kind of worries me.
But that's my thing with not giving her that main name.
Mm-hmm.
That opens it completely up for Tony Stark to come back. Like, she's not Iron Man. She's not the draw that everybody's gonna want and go for. Like, so of course he's gonna have to come back. I just think it's like they were going that direction and changed their mind. That's all I can think of.
And I think the whole how DC is really upping Marvel right now. I've always been a Marvel fan. I love both publishing companies, but I've always kind of preferred Marvel. And they're like, well, let's not lose what, you know, because DC is really spanking us right now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, no, top 10 sales, they're killing it. Civil War II's not even making it in there for the last month.
And even the movies, you know. I mean, you knock Suicide Squad as much as you want, but you know the numbers don't lie.
Justin, you said Civil War hasn't even made it in the top 10?
As far as like the main title is going back to the first month of Rebirth push. What was it? It was Civil War II at that point. It was number 11 that month.
So
It makes me wonder if people are just getting sick and tired of these crossovers and
Event fatigue.
event fatigue, exactly.
well, I'm looking at July right now for Comic-Con. They do all the diamond sales to the stores, not to actual folks. And they have Civil War 2 number 3 at number 4, and then Civil War 4 at number 7 for July.
So it's declining.
Yeah, as it goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing any of the what do you call it? The tie-ins.
Tie-ins?
Yeah.
No, they're
until you
not.
get way down the list.
Don't buy them. Wait for them in trade.
Yeah.
That's our lesson from Secret Wars, everybody. That's our lesson. The tie-ins, 90% of them are meaningless.
And Convergence.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
That's what I
God.
wanted to say. I really do think that DC kind of learned their lesson from Convergence, where it was just like, we kind of messed this up. We made this thing out to be bigger than what it was supposed to be, and we shouldn't do that again. Whereas Marvel's kind of like, trying to piggyback off the success of the first Civil War and hoping that, everybody's going to buy into what they're selling this next time around. And, that's kind of a scary gamble to have, especially where, and I think they also weren't expecting DC to really, like everyone's saying, and like how everyone's seen, knock it out of the park the way they've been doing. So it's just kind of like, for them, it's kind of like, I guess, worst of all worlds coming true at once, and it's just like, they got to right the ship at some point. And, it makes me wonder, too, like, if they're actually starting to change what they were going to do for Civil War 2, because I've heard that they're adding another issue to it. So I don't know if that's going to be to, like, tie up some other things or to add some other thing that they weren't going to do in the first place.
Here's my thing with them extending the issue. They did the exact same thing with Secret Wars. Is that just them making an extra book worth of money? Like, they're like, oh, it's 8 issues, but now it's 9 every time.
Possibly, or it's just, they have to try to, worry about getting something back to, basically doing something to kind of change over what they're trying to make, just because,
Retcon their original idea.
Yeah, just because the biggest problem I have with it is just that, when you do stuff like this, I mean, the thing that's really annoying is that they go ahead and they make it, and then they spend the next year trying to erase everything they did. It's just like, well, I mean, why not just stick to what you're doing? Like, stick to, the plan that you had and write it out and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, then, have somebody wave their arm and some powerful character recreate the universe or something like that. But, just to kind of throw everything away, I mean, especially as an artist or as a writer, that's got to piss you off a little bit, where it's just like, I spent, the last, 8.5 months making this book, and you're just going to, none of it actually happened as far as continuity is concerned. That's kind of bullshit. I mean, that's just my thought.
No, it's a good thought, man. It's a good thought. And seeing as how we're talking about the DC hype a little bit, let me digress just a little bit. Did anybody realize that Suicide Squad was #1 again 3 weeks in a row at the box office?
Yeah, I mean,
it's already over 630 million, right? I mean, it's.
Which I owe all you guys an apology for that, because I didn't believe that was going to go over 600 million.
I mean, when you think about it, it's just the frame of reference we had was Batman vs Superman, hoping that it was going to be all right, and then all of a sudden, like, it comes out and it's better than some things weren't as good as we hoped, but other things were better than what we had initially thought they were going to be, and then you have just the fact that really, honestly, there's not a lot of competition right now at the movies, and it's just like, I mean, that's like the lone big blockbuster out. So I mean, it's gonna rake in as much money as possible, just because, I mean, if you're bored and want to see a movie, like, what are you gonna choose from? You're gonna choose whatever is out there versus whatever, because there's not really much at all. There's like Sausage Party, there's there's a few others that, like, or like there's a couple kids movies out, and it's just like, shit, I'll just watch Suicide Squad again. Let's see what happens,
Hey, I wouldn't mind watching Man of Steel, man. How people knock it? I love that movie.
I think a lot of people just kind of have it where it's just like, Avengers came out and really just set the stage so high that people just say, well, ain't no Avengers, and then people, I mean, because people will still go back to that and be like, well, that's the benchmark, and no one can deny it was an amazing movie, but you kind of have to look to see where things are going forward from. So, I mean, I'm excited that it's doing well. I'm glad that it's doing well. I just hope that they channel some of those resources into telling a little bit better of a story and getting some things together sewn up so that they can compete directly with Marvel and make the best possible movie that they can.
That's what gonna do. That's what they're gonna do with Wonder Woman. That's what they're gonna do with when they give her Harley Quinn her own movie. You know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you think about it, you got movies out right now like Star Trek Beyond. You also got Jason Bourne, which is still out. I don't know if anybody saw either of those two, but they've got, you know, they're reputable actors, characters, and films. Yep. So it is kind of a surprise. I mean, you do got a little bit of competition there.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't. I actually forgot that those movies were out just because the amount of like they haven't done a lot of aggressive marketing with those, especially Star Trek. Star Trek just kind of came out and then just kind of fizzled away as far as marketing is concerned. And same with Bourne. Like I haven't even seen many commercials on it, on television for it right now. Just and just the time that we live in, like comic book movies, they're easily number one. Like when Doctor Strange comes out, I mean, unless there's something else huge out there at the same time, it's gonna go strong probably until the next big kind of movie like in that way. Because when does Doctor Strange come out? October?
Yeah, it's Doctor Strange is November, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later is Rogue One. So it's only got like 2 weeks to make money.
And I wanted to, that's what I thought. So it's gonna go from November all the way into when Rogue One comes out. Which I mean that's really the crazy part about it, where it's just like these movies are the comic book movies are just the ones that everybody wants to see, just because people want to see just those new characters coming to life.
When is Black Panther supposed to come out?
2017.
Oh, well, that's always done.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but there's still enough to chew on between now and the end of the year. Well, Doctor Strange obviously is going to be big, and then Rogue One. They're going to dominate that last 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks.
What about with like the animated genre, like obviously the Joker, and then with that Justice League Dark looks like it's going to be a great animated.
Yeah, see that's the thing. Like I kind of do wish they would release some of those more in the theaters. Like I mean,
like Mask of the Phantasm was in the theaters. That was amazing.
Yeah, like that was awesome. And even Return of the Joker, I think, was in the theaters too.
Oh yeah. I saw it. Yeah.
So it's just like they should be putting those. I mean, just for the mere fact that maybe have if you have children that want to see a cartoon, or if you just want to see something a little different, just a different take, something that's not as big and bold. Like that would be kind of cool, just because those movies are great, and it's just like straight to the video or DVD release kind of hurts them a little bit, just because it's awesome just to be able to sit there and just be in. I mean, imagine seeing some of those on a big screen would be amazing.
I think slots for the summer market are pretty slim, but I mean, I totally get your point, especially when it comes to what was the one, Flashpoint?
Flashpoint was
my God, that was an awesome film.
Well, I mean, think of it this way, right? How awesome would it be to have, like, you don't even have to have like a summer release. Just do it in like October, like a Halloween release of those type of movies. You'd make plenty of money.
Yeah,
well, it's possible, but because it's a cartoon, you want as many kids out of school as possible so they can see these movies. So that's pretty much why I said that.
But enough adults go watch it.
Yeah, I don't know about like most of even what the Batman Attack on Arkham was, which was basically a Suicide Squad animated movie. Like that was for mature audiences, realistically. Like I wouldn't let my kids watch that one. Harley Quinn and Deathstroke get a little too happy in that one. But like I think DC's doing a great job with their animation versus Marvel, who's got like what, Web Warriors, and that's junk.
Yeah, like Marvel sticks to like little cartoons. And it's just
the art could have been a little bit better, but I mean, it was still up to par in my opinion.
Yeah, but DC's like actually turning some of their stories, and they're not making up like episodic stories or whatever. They're like, here's a story we already have. Let's tweak it just a little bit and turn it out as these like fun animated movies,
And Jesse, what do you think? Because he just had to pop back in.
Well, I know a lot of people like the comic Web Warriors, and that's getting canned.
Yeah, no, I was just talking about like how the animated how I mean DC's got such great animated movies, and we're saying like how it's kind of a shame that some of them don't get more theatrical releases, just because to see them on the big screen would be amazing. Like, I mean, another one I can think of is the what was it? The Crisis on Two Earths, where they had Justice League and the Justice. I mean, that was amazing. I was like, I mean, just the beginning get-go where you see the alternate version of Lex Luthor and the Joker, like that was cool, But it's just, I really do think that that's something that they could look into. I don't know. I mean, obviously marketing-wise, it would be, I think, kind of tough to get people to get back into it. But I mean, you definitely have comic fans to go. I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, maybe in the chat or just in the comments or whatever, people could leave their thoughts on it. But I mean, if there was a DC animated film, I mean, Killing Joke did well. It's just, but if they had one that was out for a theatrical release, would people go and see it? That's my question to everybody.
Here's something I'm going to look up after we're done, just because I want to know. But in countries where animation is widely accepted, like Japan, when DC releases these movies, do they release them in the theater over there?
That's a good question.
I'm going to look that up later. I'll let you know next week.
Okay, so stay tuned. Yeah, CeeLo said DC dominates animation movies, and I agree. That's Warner Brothers' strong point at this point in the game.
Absolutely. Iculus says they should make Southern Bastards an animated movie. Now, I know it's supposed to be a great title. I've yet to read anything on it.
It's pretty good.
Nailbiter is pretty good, too.
Now, we're talking art and write and story
yeah.
as well?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what one is really good? I just read it. I think it was yesterday. No. When did I read it? Sunday. Black Monday Murders. New image title.
That's supposed to be really good, too.
It was really good. It's a long story. If you like, horror, tying in, mythology, and, there you go.
Jonathan Hickman.
Mystery, finance, revisionist history. Definitely it is worth checking out. It was really good. Yeah.
It sucks because I've been kind of on this Tampa Con tip and post Tampa Con thing where I'm trying to get all these books, slab ready and this and that, and I've literally missed out on 2 weeks of really good books. I mean, you see, the one you just showed right now, Justin.
Yeah.
Animosity, I missed out on. I've missed out on really good books, man.
Well, that's I heard was good too.
Yeah. Those indies kind of. I mean, I
got a list for you every Monday that'll tell you what's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta look into those, and just like one thing I can recommend too is just that and I probably should be saving it for. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll go ahead and throw some people that do indies in my shout-outs, just because watch people's channels who talk about the indies, because they'll catch you up on everything you need to know. What books they speculate on, what books that are out that are just great, because it's definitely something where if you're big company centric and you want something different, like people talk to other people in the community who actually like kind of run that route, just because you'll find out some really just awesome books that you never thought were anything great. But the problem is some of them have very low print runs, so you have to jump on them as soon as once they come out, just so everybody knows going forward, you got to get Black Eyed Kids coming, going forward, Animosity, all those ones, just make that a priority, get it on your pull list.
Yeah. Well, I think out of sight, out of mind comes into play, because it's just like Justin said. Justin said that that book, Black Eyed Kids, was actually in previews. Mm-hmm. And, I got to be honest, man, I don't really buy previews. I don't know how many people actually do, but it seems like if you're buying previews, then obviously about all this stuff. But if you're not, or not really in touch with the comic book community, you're not going to really know about this stuff.
Yeah. Well, the way I get previews is my local shop owner, since I go there a lot and I talk with him all the time, like he kind of just like on the house, he just throws it in. I'm like, cool, man. Yep. So I mean, that's something that I think they don't really anticipate tons of sales on. So if you're really cool with your shop owner, then maybe they'll toss it in for free and just let you, because they know, like, the thing for them is that you're buying it and they know you're going to come back and put stuff on your pull list, so it's money for them. So they're not really losing anything by giving you the book.
Well, see, my shop, I don't. It's not like a massive shop or anything, but they have, I don't know, 8, 10 employees like total that work throughout the week or whatever, and they all do their pick. So like Cliff's pick of the week, and they'll put these little things, and 9 times out of 10, their picks of the week are indie books. So
Yep.
like so you're seeing those on the shelf with like an extra little yellow card next to it, and you're like, oh, what's that?
Yeah.
So, still little things like that. Stores can do and help out to get these books out there, but yeah, you just kind of gotta keep your ear to the ground on it, or talk to people at the shop for some of these indie books, because there's no way to know they're coming out. They don't have the marketing campaign or anything to put tons of flyers up or get banners on like comic book resources and things like that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point too.
Hey Edwin, you mentioned Hillbilly, the title. What's the premise on that? Yeah, obviously I've heard of it. I just don't know anything about it.
Southern Bastards?
No, the Hillbilly.
No, I
Nail biter?
No, but there is a title out there called Hillbilly or something.
No, I said it would be.
There is a Hillbilly.
I said it would be Hillbilly cool, because when you think of Southern Bastards.
Okay.
It's been a while
what's that
since I read it.
title? That's Hillbilly or something, isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just being stupid.
Yeah.
It definitely is. I've never read it, but I guess it's a popular one. People seem to like it. So
Issue 2 sold out
yeah.
already.
I read issue 1 when it came out, Southern Bastards, and I kind of forget. I actually dropped it because it was a $3.99 title, I think, and I really try to stay away from $3.99 titles. But let me get Justin to chime in on this, because maybe he could help out. Can you remind us what Southern Bastards is about?
It was... Oh, crap. I'm getting it confused with Sons of the Devil, which is also another Image book. So no, I can't help you. But it's set in the South. I know it's set in the South, of course, Southern Bastards. But it was... I mean, there weren't any like superpowers or anything like that going on. It was an actual like story, more so than what you would think of when you think of comic books.
Yeah.
So it was more of a graphic novel spliced out into issues.
Okay, so let me read. Thank God for the internet. It says, welcome to Carroll County, Alabama, home of Boss Barbecue, the state champion running Rebs football team, and more bastards than you've ever seen. When you're an angry old man like Earl Tubb, the only way to survive a place like this is to carry a really big stick. I'd have to get it and refresh my memory, but since I can't really think about it, I will talk about Nail Biter. Nail Biter is really good if anybody hasn't read that. As a matter of fact, I remember reading that, what's his name? Scott Snyder gave it a lot of praise because it kind of had this Scott Snyder / what's his name? Stephen King type of feel to it. It has to do with, these murders and stuff like that going on in this very country isolated town. And these two detectives kind of come in and try to figure out what's going on, and it really spins off from there. And that's actually a really, really good kind of a horror mystery type of comic book.
Nicholas says Alabama town with a corrupt, murderous football coach.
Yeah.
This is more drama and violent. Honestly, like just from that little synopsis of it, like it sounds cool to me. Like I think I would definitely like check that out just to see what happens with it. I do find myself kind of now. I love superhero books and stuff like that. I mean, that's what I mostly collect. But I look at stuff like that, and I think of stuff like graphic novels and stuff like that. I would like to get into more like the horror and just kind of like crime drama type stuff. Just because those are great reads where it's just like I find myself with those type of stories wanting to get it all at once rather than go issue by issue just because it's just like gotta wait a whole month to get the next. No, please, that's just me. So I feel like that's what trades come in, and so definitely if it's something especially where it's hard to find, that I'll be definitely picking up a trade for. But if I can find it and get a lot of the series together and just read it on through, I definitely will.
Yeah, cool. If you guys want drama, violence, mystery, and a cool new indie title, check out Demonic. That was really good. Yeah, I really like
just came
that.
out
I
last
haven't read
week.
it yet. Yeah, I have that sitting on the
It's good.
list.
Now, when you say, is it mostly, is it like kind of like a Hellblazer type theme, where you have a lot of I guess religious type ties to it, or is it just kind of just no?
The main character is a cop, a detective, and he's got a family. There's a kid that's sick, and there's this demon that's been kind of like following him for a while. I'm not going to give any spoilers, so don't worry. And something happens, and demon's like, aha, this is my chance. And basically, he's got to like follow along with what the demon says at that point, or else, the family's lives are at stake. And there's some mystery around, the past and why is this demon attached to him, and the family, the partner with the detective. So there's a lot of mystery and questions to be answered there. But at the same time, there's this demon there, and when stuff happens, it's really bloody and violent. And pretty brutal too. So
that seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I did my best not to give any spoilers.
No, I mean that was good. Just because it's intriguing the way you tell it. So it's just like it's funny because you hear about all these indie, and I'm sitting there promoting all the indies and being like, yeah, man, pick all the. It's just like shit, man. Polish just keeps growing and growing.
Exactly. What are you guys looking to pick up tomorrow?
Honestly, tomorrow seems like a pretty light week. I mean, for me, there's not a ton coming out. Definitely the new Flash book.
Blue Beetle Rebirth. Anybody getting that one?
Probably not. Deathstroke number one tomorrow. I mean, honestly, I was actually. It's kind of good that we had Joe on as a guest and everything, because I think I'm gonna start looking for some more indies and stuff. So I'm glad we're talking about all these because, honestly, like for the main titles coming out, there's not tons and tons that I'm, really looking forward to. So it's just like, I wouldn't mind picking up a couple indie books just to get, a new perspective on some comics, and if I need to shift gears just in case, Marvel now sucks, then hey, I have these to look forward to.
Yeah, man. On these light weeks, it's perfect. This week and the next week is, I think, the 5th week, right, for the month. So that's going to be a light week too. So perfect time to pick up some of these other titles and give them a shot.
Absolutely.
Anybody grabbing Blue Beetle Rebirth?
I think Justin. No, he could.
Justin's the only. He already left. He's like, I'm not grabbing it.
No, he's like, no one makes fun of Blue Beetle. Click.
It was either that, or he was like, oh, it's coming out, and he went to wait in line real quick.
He's camping. He's camping out.
It's not a new iPhone. You don't have to camp out there.
Apparently, there's one called Kingsway West.
I saw that. Yeah.
Looks good. Lake of Fire. Lake of Fire is coming out too.
Yeah, I was trying to look that up and it kicked me out.
Your Blue Beetle.
We thought we pissed you off with the Blue Beetle comment.
No, I'm not getting it either. I don't care about that character.
I'm not feeling the cover at all.
No. You have to like stare at the cover to figure out what the crap it is.
Did you guys read Superwoman?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that? Because a lot of people were some people liked it, and a lot of people were kind of pissed off that they went with Lana versus Lois.
Well, but the fact that it looks like unless something magical happens, that book's got a defined timetable of how long it can go.
Mm-hmm.
So I view it more as like an extended miniseries that maybe I'll like, but I didn't hate it. But I kind of knew what I was getting into when I picked it up,
Yeah. I think the people that did hate it were the ones that really wanted a, Lois Lane, not as a side piece type of story.
Right. Well, yeah. What was that movie, or what was that story where All-Star Superman?
Yeah.
Right.
She gets the power for 24 hours.
Right. So I mean, that's what everybody had in their mind when they saw that book, and they thought it was Lois, and it's like, well, it kind of looks like that suit from that movie that I saw,
Well, I think it's the Earth 2 Lois Lane was actually, she was actually superpowered too.
She was Red Tornado.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's kind of a crazy thing where it's just like, I don't know if I would, I don't know if I want to see Lois Lane with permanent powers like that, just because I don't see her really as a hero at that point. I see her more as just, she's the sidekick to Superman. Like she's got her own, place in that universe. But like, I mean, her place is still, you know, something that's very like, you know, important. Like, where it's just like, you know, as a regular human, she gets close to all these, you know, super beings, and she's able to kind of, you know, just see into their world and then be like a liaison between, you know, us, you know, regular humans and them. You know what I mean? She reports the stories between them and stuff. So I think that should be her role, and I think it's more important to keep her there than make her a hero. Because I mean, what kind of hero would she really be? Would she be good? Would she be bad? I mean, would she basically be like a poor man's Wonder Woman? You know?
So what about Mary Jane as Iron Spider?
I mean, I wasn't really feeling that either. I actually liked when she was like, you know what, I'm only doing this once and that's it. Like, I thought that was kind of cool, where it's just like, you know, for people that aren't heroes, for people that don't have powers and have never done it, you know, I think that's the most, you know, honest portrayal you can have, where it's just like, you know what, I did it one day, it scared the shit out of me, I don't want to do it again. Like that I think is, because I mean, for any one person, it's just like, all right, you get to be a superhero, go into this building where they have guns drawn, this and that, and take care of these people. Most people be like, no, I did it once, I'm never doing it again, I don't want it. You know, I mean, it does take a special type of person to want to do that type of thing. You know, that's why none of us, you know, the people that are, you know, soldiers, police officers, firefighters, all those that just rush into danger, it takes a special kind of person to do that. And to just give it to anybody, I think kind of cheapens it, you know?
Yeah.
Which, that leads into a new AfterShock book that's coming out. Oh my God, it was in here. What is it called? Life Spanners?
Iron Spider leads to AfterShock.
Well, no, just from what he was from what he was saying about superpowers and what you would do with it. But I think it's Life Spanners, and it's a book about superheroes or superpowers are now for sale. What we do with them.
Ooh, interesting.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like, I would buy the Power of Flight for a while. That would be fun.
Oh yeah.
I just don't know if landing's gonna be the hard part though.
Screw traffic. Yeah, Life Spanners, and it's Tim Seeley is the creator.
Oh really? That's
Yeah.
cool. I like Tim Seeley.
Yeah. So maybe you're writing a couple things. That's interesting. Want to jump into a couple of the other topics we had here, because we're getting up to 9:20, if you guys don't mind. One of them was confirmed Stallone. It's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy. Did you see the picture of him, and he has on like Nova Corps regalia?
No.
Yeah, so he's going to be in the movie. Obviously, we know some of the other people, like what's his face, Ego and stuff. But who do you guys? Yeah, who do you guys think? Yeah, Kurt Russell. I couldn't think of his name. Who do you think Stallone will be? They're saying he's in the movie. It's confirmed, but his character is not revealed yet.
Is he gonna
Do you
be
have any theories on that?
He's gonna be Groot.
I don't know.
That's my thing. I do not want Stallone to be Richard Rider.
I think that
because doesn't that open up to the new?
I think he's going to be Nova. I do. That's my theory.
But I mean, nowadays they kind of they change the characters as much as they want, but I don't see Nova as like an older guy.
Well, that's the thing. I wonder if that kind of plays into Marvel now, where it's just like, you know what, we want to put the younger Nova in there and make him, you know, something that, you know, people want to see. Where it's just like, you know, but like you said, you know, Richard Rider is the original. He's the one that, you know, I mean, that would almost be like, you know, who I could see him play, which I don't know that I fully believe in him as a character, but to be somebody older to pass it to somebody else is the first Captain Marvel. You know what I mean? Obviously, like,
Captain
have him on his
Marvel.
deathbed. Yeah, have him be Marvel, but have him be dying. You know what I mean? Like, that way he can go and fight Thanos in like Infinity War or whatever, die there, and then pass it on to, you know, the girl who's gonna be Carol Danvers. That works.
I think he's going to be a bad guy. I mean, I don't think Stallone has played bad guys too often. He was a bad guy in this. It was a kids movie with him and Antonio Banderas. I forget what it's called. But he had a lot of.
They were assassins.
What was that called? Well, he wasn't really a bad guy in that movie, but I think it's a role he could pull off. I mean, it's one that he hasn't done very often either.
Honestly, I
Ravager.
think the last time he's been a bad guy was in the first Rambo movie. I mean, that I can remember. He was in the first Rambo movie, and he was kind of like just a vagrant that they kind of, the cops pissed him off and that was it. He was just like, fuck this, I'm blowing up everybody.
All right, here's my theory now. He's a Ravager because Yondu gets kicked out and he's with the Guardians in this movie. So somebody's got to be leading the Ravengers while Yondu isn't with them.
I can see that.
That's my hope. Okay.
You really don't want you don't want him to be Nova.
No, because I want Nova to be a character that could last for a few movies. If he's Nova, then in that movie, Sam Alexander will become Nova.
It is kind of strange. I mean, because I feel like that kind of does no justice to the original Nova. Just kind of taking him and, all right, here you go. You're gonna be a one and done character. Or you're gonna be around for a little bit, but we're gonna pass the torch already. But then again, it's just like with the Marvel or with the Marvel, how they want to tell their stories. I mean, it's gonna be tough to put all the originals of every single character, in. I mean, that's the one good thing about a Nova type character, where it's just like there is a Nova core, they are interchangeable, so you don't have to worry so much about it. But what can you do?
Yeah,
but whatever it is, I don't see him.
Find out what happens.
Yeah, I don't see him doing a big role, whatever it is. I mean.
Yeah, well, and realistically, Marvel really hasn't disappointed me yet too much, so I'll have faith with them for now.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're getting up to that time frame here, 9:30. We had a couple of other things that we were going to talk about, but I think that we have one more pop-up little thing we want to do, if you know what I mean there.
I was gonna do it, but
right,
I guess I could do it real quick. Actually, let's just wait till next week. I think what we'll do is we'll do more questions. There was a lot of back and forth with a few other things, and I know we're wrapping up, getting the end of it. So I'll just save. Believe me, guys, I got thousands of questions. Trust me. So there will be no shortage of those.
All right, sounds good. We'll save those then. Let's do our final thoughts here and shout out if you have one.
All right, so I guess I should start because I started before. So, I just wanted to go ahead and shout out a couple of channels that I know specialize in indie books. If you're looking for someone to kind of guide you into, what they like to read and what they speculate on, Rob Wise 82 he's an indie guru. Check him out. Also, Mark with a Mouth loves the indies, definitely has a ton of different books that he'll always be telling people to check out. So, just check out those guys. I mean, I know there's more, but check out those two channels. Let them, and just kind of see what they tell you, and then just look up all the new books that they, open your eyes to. And, just like anything else, just have fun collecting. So that's my shout out for this week.
Cool. Let's just head right down the line.
I guess, am I next?
Yeah.
I want to thank Joe for showing up, man. He was pretty cool having him on the panel for sure. What else? Looking forward to a couple of new books, man. And Justin sending out those books to us. And again, guys, I'll press them and clean them for all you guys. That'll be my treat, man.
Yes, sir.
Look, as far as what I got going on in the background, man, I got a couple of things that I'm working on. Probably going to surprise a lot of people in the community. I want to say in about a month. So kind of working on it. I just want it to be fine-tuned before I unveil it, uncover it. But just want it to be nice and tweaked up. So that's going to be coming in about a month. So, yeah, that's it. And don't forget to come check me out, Comics and Stuff.
All right, good stuff. All right. Edwin, you're up.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for having Mr. Pruitt on, because I learned a lot. I learned more and more how indie comics really have some of the best stories, and I hope a lot of people are more open-minded to this. So thank you very much for having him on as a guest, and shout outs to everybody else. I enjoyed this panel. I enjoyed doing this with everybody. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. if you guys have time, check me out. Tomorrow I will post up a video describing the details to my 500 sub contest. It will be Transformers related, if anybody has any interest in that. So check me out over at Strictly Comics, and that's it, you guys.
Cool. All right. Yeah, same thing. Like having Joe on was so awesome. Like, you know, like Edwin was saying, just like the insight he kind of gave into even his career and how that like added to the comic zeitgeist of just like everything, you know, builds and everybody knows everybody and stuff like that, and that's just how it compounds. But yeah, you know, really great discussion this week. Really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what we got planned for next week. I mean, it sounds like we're going to have to do a complete another episode on just like comic book trivia. So that may be coming one day.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks for coming back. Thanks for showing up each week. I really appreciate it. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to the people in the chat too. Nerdivision, Big E's Comics. We had Splash Page, Iculus had some really great questions as well. Silos, Razeth, you know, a bunch of people. So shout out to them. And like you guys said, shout out to Joe too and the folks at AfterShock. He said to me today that he was swamped with work and super busy. And, you know, to be perfectly honest, he said kind of towards the end he wasn't sure if he'd be able to make it, but he still did. And I was thinking, like last time, you know, okay, well, he's busy, so maybe 10 minutes. But he gave us an hour and a half, an hour, whatever that was. So that was phenomenal of him. And, you know, awesome book. Definitely check that out if you haven't. That first issue is $1.99. Not much of an investment there to try it. So give it a shot, guys. Give those indie publishers, those indie titles a shot, and you'll be surprised what you see too. So that's what I got to say. Collect what you love. I always say that, but I'm going to add to that the indie titles. Collect those indie titles, folks. The other thing I'm going to tell you is never eat yellow snow. Remember that. That'll do it for this week here. Stay tuned or tune in next week. We have some things coming up, some things brewing in the pot. Another special guest perhaps. So a lot of good stuff coming up. This is Jesse here with JLS Comics, and this has been another Comic Conversation.
Hashtag in the age. Hashtag in the age.
In the age, yes.